Hi friends, welcome to WSOT with Cup of Coffee. I am Prabhakaran Champion. In the second video of API Manager series, we are going to discuss about how to set up and run API Manager in your local desktop or laptop, and we are going to discuss about what are the different configurations available in API Manager. Also, we are going to see the publisher and developer portal and the features in detail on this publisher and developer portal. Let's get into the video. I've already set up Java Home in my machine, so I'm directly going into API Manager directory. So inside API Manager directory, there are multiple subfolders. In this, we are going to look more into repository and bin. Bin folder has all the scripts like a shell file or batch file. You can see it here. And you can see all the configurations and logs under repository conf. Under repository conf folder, you can see multiple configuration files. And under repository logs, you can see the server logs. Now we'll start the server. I have already opened a command prompt with this bin folder. So I'm directly going into the command prompt and I'm going to start the server. Since I'm using a Windows machine, the command to start is like wso server.bat. Once your server is started successfully, you can see these three lines, which gives you where the servers are running. So if you want to see the Carbon management console, you can go to 9443 Carbon. API developer portal is at 9443 dev portal and publisher is at 9443 publisher. If you are running the API manager for the very first time, it may take more than 30-40 seconds for you to start the server. Now I'll go to API manager management console. So this is the API manager management console portal. By default, the username and password of API manager or any WSO2 product is admin, and the password is also admin. I've given my credential and I'm logging in now. These are all the different menus that are available in API manager, but these are all not something which we are going to look into straight away. So I'm going to publisher portal. As we have seen in our architectural video, we have seen that publisher is the place where we design and change the life cycle of the API. So we will see how we can do that. Since this is a new installation, there are no APIs deployed, and the other menus we have are like APIs, scopes, API products, and we also have settings. I will create a dummy API which will not work to show you the different menus of publisher. I'm going to create a new API or design a new API. Naming it as demo and context is also demo. Version is v1.0. Endpoint I'll just give HTTP. And business plans. There are different business plans. As you can see, if you choose the business plan bronze, it will allow only 1000 requests. For gold, 5000 requests. For silver, it is 2000 requests per minute. And again, there's one more option for unlimited. I'm using unlimited here. So there are two options, either create or create and publish. So we are going to use create here. As you can see, an API has been created successfully and you are directly landing in the overview page. So it shows the menu like create, what is the endpoint, business plans, everything is in tick mark, which means we have already configured that, and we have an option to publish. So we will not publish right away. We will see what are all other configurations available. First one is design configurations. Here we can define the description of the API and public access control. Who all can view this API or access this API? Right now it is all. Developer portal visibility. So who all from developer portal can access this API or view this API? Again, we are giving it as public. And if there are any tags for this API, we can provide a tag. And make this default version. No. So if we give it as default version, there will not be any version embedded in the API URL. So we are giving it as no for now. Next is runtime configurations. In runtime configurations, it has different level of transport level security, HTTP, HTTPS or mutual SSL. We can select more than one here, and application level security. As I said, API Manager provide different types of security mechanism. So we can choose between OAuth, basic authentication API key, either of these or all of these. So right now I'm going to select all of these. CORS configuration, whether you want to enable CORS or not. So if you enable CORS, you can define what are all the header origins you want to allow and what are all the methods you want to allow. I am turning it off again. Schema validation is something we will look into later. And we also have something called a message mediation. One is for request. Request level also we can do message mediation. Response level also we can do message mediation. And fault level also we can do message mediation. So message mediation is also something we will see in our future videos. And there's one more thing called response caching in the response section. So if you enable response caching, like if the same kind of request is coming for more number of times, you can cache the response, and instead of hitting the backend API, the API manager gateway will directly check the cache manager if the response is already available. If it is, it will just send the response back to the caller application. Next, we are going to see the next menu, resources. So here operation configuration. So rate limiting level, whether you want to do it operation level, operation means these resources, or API level, global for this API level. So here if you see, if I select API level, I can define how many requests per minute this API can have. I am selecting unlimited here also. This is the place where you can define all your methods for a particular API or resources for a particular API. It has all the HTTP methods available, and you can define a URI pattern also. So for example, I'm giving get as a HTTP verb or a HTTP method, and pattern as first. So I have added a resource here. Here, if I expand the resources, I can give a description and summary for these resources, and I can turn on or off the security for this API. If you turn off the security, the API will not be secured at all. Whereas if you turn on the security, this API will be secured based on one of the security mechanism we have chosen in the runtime configuration. Also, if you have any parameters like query header or cookie, you can define here. You can define the parameter names, what is the data type, and whether the parameter is required or not in this parameter section. Next, we are going to see endpoint section. As you can see, it shows the endpoint which we have defined in the first page of create API section. And these are all the different types of endpoints available. HTTP REST endpoint, SOAP endpoint, dynamic endpoint, prototype implementation, and AWS Lambda. These are all the different types of endpoints available. And we will see an example for each of these endpoints in future videos. Subscription. As you can see in the first page, we have defined unlimited as this tier, so it allows unlimited request. Life cycles of the API. Right now, if you can see, the API life cycle is at created. So only if we publish, this API will be available in the developer portal. Or in other words, only if you publish an API, the users of your API manager can subscribe that API and access that API. Till then, it will be in the created state and no one can access your API. API definition. By default, the API manager allows you to create your swaggers or YAMLs in 3.0.1 version of OpenAPI. You can edit and make your changes here. Next one is environments. So this is a fresh installation. So it just has a production and sandbox environment, and the server URL is 9443/services. If you have more than one gateway, all these gateway will be available here. Next is local scopes. If you want to create a scope for a particular API, you can go for local scope, which we will discuss later. Next is business info, all the metadata of this particular API. Next one is properties. You can define custom properties for your API here. Next one is documents. You can define all your documents for this particular API here. Last one is test console. You can start testing your API here. We have seen what are all the menus available in publisher. Now let's move to dev portal. So in the same URL, I am going to change URL for dev portal. As you can see, there are no APIs available. First, I will sign in to developer portal. I will use the same authentication. So after logging in also, I am unable to see any APIs. Now I will go to publisher. I'll go to the life cycle of the API which we have created, and I'll change the life cycle to publish. The life cycle of the API has been updated successfully, which you can see in here. Now I am going to dev portal again and I am refreshing the page. Now the API has been displayed in the developer portal, which is available for subscription. As a subscriber, if you want to see what are all the details about API, you can just click on that particular API. You can see the version, what is the context, who is the provider. Provider is nothing but the creator of the API. Key managers all applicable, and you will be able to rate the API as well. And what are all the gateway environments available? Protection and sandbox, and gateway URLs also, like HTTP it is 8280 and HTTPS it is 8243. You can download the Swagger file also. It also lets you to subscribe to an API. It will let you know what are all the resources available in this particular API. You can generate your SDK if you want to call this API from your programming language, and any commands that are made will be shown here, and documentation of the API will be shown here. So all these menus we have seen here are for overview. Next we will see what is subscriptions. So you can subscribe your API to an application, and you can define under which throttling policy you can subscribe this API for. Since we have defined this API under unlimited throttling policy in publisher, you can only subscribe it as an unlimited. Next is a tryout section. In the tryout section, you can see the different resources of the APIs, like what are all the resources or resource method you have defined. Everything will be there, and which server you want to connect to, either a HTTPS port or HTTP port. And it will also allows you to define which gateway environment you want to test your API against, and what type of security type you want to test this API with. So to use this tryout section, first we have to subscribe to an application, or the entire life cycle of API publishing and subscription using a real-time API we will see in the next video. So next we have a comment section. I will give a comment. So what are the documentations available for this API? There are no documents available. And the SDKs. If you want to download SDKs for any of these 4 programming language, you can do it right away. And if you want to extend the number of SDK for programming language, that is also supported. We will see it in our future videos. These are all the different menus that are available in a publisher and developer portal. Now we will get into a deep dive of the configurations that are available in API Manager. Now let's go into repository folder. Inside repository, there's a conf. So conf is the folder which has all the configurations. You can see a lot of configuration files that are present here. In the API Manager version that came before 3.x, you have to change all these configuration files. From API Manager version 3.x, you have to just change one configuration file which is called a deployment.toml, which will replace all the values which you configure inside this deployment.toml file in other configuration files, like it be it XML properties or any other extension of the file. So now let's open the deployment.toml file. These are all the different configurations available under deployment.toml file. So server, all the server related configuration will come here. Host name, right now I have it as localhost. What is the IP? The next one is offset. So offset is used to run more than one WSO2 product in the same machine. Let's say you are running API Manager, Identity Server, and Enterprise Integrator, all 3 in your same machine, which is a laptop or a desktop. You can change the offset for each of this product as 0, 1, and 2. If you change, if the product has offset as 0, the all the ports of that particular product will be 9443, 8243, and 8280. These are all the default HTTP HTTPS port. If the offset is 1, the port will be like 944, 8244 and 8281. The same goes on, which means like if your offset is 1, it is like 9443 plus 1 slash 8280 plus 1 slash 8243 plus 1. All the default ports will be incremented by the value defined in the offset. So this is how an offset works. Next one is mode, whether it is a single mode or in high availability mode. What is the base path? So base path you want to provide is like carbon protocol carbon host. The carbon protocol is nothing but HTTPS, and the carbon host is like the host name which you have defined here, local host. And server role. Server role is default, which means it is an all-in-one installation of an API manager. Next is the super admin section. This is the place where you define your credential of the super admin. As we said before, all the product comes with the credential admin, and you have an option to create an admin account. So it is always true. If you want to create an WSO2 installation with a different username and password, we can give you this. For an example, admin underscore admin. So the default username and password will not work, provided this is the first time you are starting up this server after changing all these configurations. Next one is user store. What type of user store we have? Here we have database underscore unique underscore ID, which is a database. Next is, since we have a user store as database, next is we have to define two types of database. One is APMDB, another one is shared DB. APMDB is the database which has all kind of information and metadata related to the API we publish, subscribe, or application we publish, subscribe, or the tokens that are generated to access this particular API. So there are different types of database. By default, API manager comes with H2 database, or to be honest, like all the WSO2 product comes with H2 database. This type we can change. Like if you want to go for MySQL, you can just give MySQL and provide your JDBC URL, username and password here. Since I am going to show you with H2 database, I am not altering it. The second database configuration is shared DB. Shared DB is also having the same H2 type here, and the database URL is also defined here. Shared DB is used to store all the information about registry and user roles, permission, and user store details will be stored in the shared DB. Next one is key store. So what is the key store of your particular installation is WSO2 carbon.jks. Type is JKS, password, alias, everything has been defined here. The key store primary and key store internal are commented, which means like it is not needed for your local installation. Next one is API gateway environment. You can define the name of the gateway, type of the gateway, and you can choose to whether show this gateway in console or not, description, and show as token endpoint URL. So if you want to show this gateway as a token endpoint URL, you can give it as true. And the service URL, what is the service URL? So the service URL is localhost management transport port slash services, which means HTTPS localhost. If it is management transport port, it is 9443 slash services. What is the username? What is the password? What is the WS endpoint, WSS endpoint, HTTP endpoint for this gateway, and HTTPS endpoint for this gateway? If you can see, most of these parameters are dynamic. So if you want to give a static value, which means you want to override the actual port that these endpoints are running, you can do that as well. Now we can see the different configurations that are available for cache. So gateway token cache, if you want to enable it through resource cache, key manager token cache, all these kind of setting can be done. As you can see, all of these are commented, so you need not worry about this at this point of time. We will look into it in detail when we define the use case for each of these configuration in our future videos. Next is API analytics section. If you want to enable the analytics, you can just change this flag to true. And what is the store URL, username and password for this particular server, and what type of event publisher you want to use, default and implementation, everything you can provide here. As we have seen in the first video of this series, analytics is not a product that comes by default with API Manager, whereas it is an add-on product for API Manager. This entire section which I have highlighted will be changed or modified only when we have analytics running in our setup, which we will discuss later in one of our future videos. Next one is key manager section. So key manager section is used to integrate a third party key manager with the API manager. By default, API manager comes with a key manager, as we have seen in the architecture diagram. But if you want to use a third party service as your key manager, you can do it very well. Like all you have to do is like give the your service URL, username and password of that particular key manager. We will see how to implement identity server as a key manager for APIM setup in one of our future videos. I'm going to skip APIM IDP section for now and APIM JWT section for now, which we will discuss later when the need arises. Now let us see the OAuth configurations. Let's say if in a use case you want to send the header that you received in the gateway, or an authorization header that you received in the gateway has to be sent to your actual backend service, you have to change this enable outbound auth header as true. By default, it is false. So all the authorization header that are received in the gateway will be removed before the message has been sent to the actual endpoint. Next one is auth header. What is the name of the actual auth header? You can define it as any name you want, but by default it will be authorization. And revoke endpoint. What is the endpoint to revoke a token? It can be OPEC token or a JWT token. It has been provided here. If you want to enable token encryption, you can define true. And if you want to enable token hashing, you can define true. Next is developer portal configuration. The first one is URL of the developer portal. Second one is like whether you want to share the application between different users of different groups. And if yes, what is the type of application sharing? And if you want to enable comments, ratings, forums, or enable anonymous mode, everything can be done using the developer portal section. And again, if you want to display multiple versions of an API, you can do it using true or false setting here. And if you want to display the deprecated APIs which are no longer used for subscription, that also you can provide here. Next one is CORS configuration. So what are all the different CORS configuration you can define here? Allow origins. Allow origins, if you give star or asterisk, it means it allow all types of origin. And what are all the methods to allow? It is allowing get, put, post, delete, patch, and options. And what kind of headers you want to allow? Authorization, access control. These are the different types of header you want to allow. And if you want to allow credentials or not, that also you can provide here. These are all the basic configurations which we need to be aware of at this point of time. We will see about the rest of the configurations in one of our future videos when we discuss about a specific use case at that particular point. Now we will see what are all the different types of logs available in API Manager. So as we said, logs are provided under a repository logs folder, and you can see there are different types of logs. Audit log shows us what are all the actions that are happening in the API Manager. For example, I will show this particular two lines. It will tell you who is the initiator, admin at carbon.super. Here that carbon.super is the default tenant domain for the API manager, and admin is the user which I have logged in. Action is I have created. Target one, I have created an API using API publisher. Result is success. If you see the next one, I have updated the API rather. So again, the same user is admin at carbon.super, action is update, target is one, data is from API manager publisher. Here also result is success. This is how you can see what are all the different actions that are happening in API manager using audit logs. Next, we will see about HTTP access log. HTTP access log captures every request that is coming in and going out of API manager. It defines the request as what is the HTTP method, what is the URL that has been accessed, what is the HTTP protocol, what is the status code, and other parameters. So we will go to the end of the document and we will see one sample. If you remember, like when we were looking about a developer portal, we went to the SDK menu and we have seen what are the different SDKs that are available for that particular API. For that, developer portal triggered an API call. This is the logs of that particular API call. As you can see, it is of HTTP GET method. This is the endpoint of that API which has been called. It is of HTTP 1.1 type. It has 200 as the response code. Other parameters are not needed for us right now because these are all enough to see or debug what is the type of API that it has been called, what is the API endpoint, and what is the response code of a particular API. With this, we can define whether any API call has been success or failure just by looking at a single log statement using HTTP access logs. Next log file which we are going to see is like WSO2 carbon.log, which is like a universal log file. So I'll open it. It will have details about everything that is happening in API Manager, like from all the logs that are generated at the time of startup. And if you're calling an API, it will be logged here. And if there are any custom logs that you provide using your mediation sequence, that will also be logged in this WSO2 carbon.log. WSO2 carbon.log, as said, will log what are all the actions that are happening in publisher or developer portal, or all the logs of the gateway or logged in this WSO2 carbon.log. Let's say if there are any runtime exceptions that are happening in the gateway, you can see that in WSO2 carbon.log. In the today's video, we have seen how to set up, run and configure API Manager. And in the next video, we will see how to design our first API in API Manager and how to secure that API using different security mechanisms. I hope this video was informative to you. Please share this video with your friends and provide your valuable feedback or suggestion so that I can improve my future videos. Please stay safe in this current COVID pandemic situation. We will meet in the next video. Until then, it's Prabhakaran Thodidutsambien signing off. Thank you.